Only in America can a self-proclaimed socialist get rich off of capitalism. Do you think the irony here is lost on AOC or her followers?
I just don't think that AOC cares that much. I mean, it's not the first time she's been a hypocrite before, and it kind of just rolls off her shoulders. And she has a huge following. I mean, I think she's the third or second most followed person on social politician on social media on Twitter. If they really did care, they would show their anger by sitting there and kind of deflecting. I think the really smart socialists in the country is the people who kind of have the people on the left who have kind of some level of purity, the Glenn Greenwalds, the Mike Tracys, the girls from one of my favorite podcasts, Red Scare. They never kind of believed her jargon anyway. They kind of just sat there and always believed her nonsense for what it was. And I think that she's ultimately become a outside of the bubbles that she's really has a huge support in. She's a detriment to her party and to her causes too.
And speaking of those bubbles of support, a lot of these are young kids, a lot of young teens and other young adults. And right now, slogans like "Eat the Rich" and socialism are kind of poison pills among establishment figures on both sides of the party, or on both sides of the aisle, both Democrats and Republicans. But as the younger generations, the ones who've grown up watching AOC playing Twitch live streams and watching her play video games and have grown up with her, perhaps words like socialism and class warfare won't be such poison pills to them. Is that a concern, do you think, when looking ahead to the future and decades to come?
Yeah, of course it is, because they do become voters, and a lot of them don't grow out of it, even when they start paying taxes. They genuinely believe the system doesn't work, and in many cases it doesn't really work. They do have a point about healthcare being expensive. I know as a single man without children or a wife to support, my healthcare is probably the second or third most largest bill I have on my monthly budget. And that, there's times where I've sit there and say, okay, maybe I can't afford healthcare this month. Questions like these really are very problematic for a lot of voters. And I don't think that the Republican Party has offered a solution that actually sits there and engages with these voters. And oftentimes they just hope that they grow up, pay taxes, and change their ways. But questions on things like the environment, questions on things like healthcare are important and will continue to be important. And I think it's the working class issues that Trump kind of tapped into that need to be expounded upon and sit there and expand them to sit there in issues like, healthcare.
And so looking at that, with this political realignment that we currently find ourselves in, a lot of it spearheaded by President Trump, he's really shaken up the Republican Party. What would you like to see the Republican Party, the GOP, reshape itself around moving forward?
I think that the kind of Reagan platform that we've been a party for 40 years needs to kind of change with the times. The Cold War is no longer going on. There's no reason for these foreign wars to happen for decades at a time. There's no reason to sit there and idolize free trade with China, knowing that they are an enemy, and they're not a friend to the United States. I think that having an immigration system that brings in 1.2 million legal immigrants per year is too high, and we need to work on assimilating and becoming one sole nation, and then creating an economy that works for working class people. I think these are the touchstones of the new Republican Party that they need to sit there and really work on. And I think that should be the main focus. Stop treating Wall Street and Silicon Valley like it is your friend. They are not your friend. Neither is the Chinese Communist Party. Neither is Hollywood, and neither is the university system. We need to investigate a lot of these organizations, these nonprofits, and work on prioritizing the working class that votes Republican and gives them their majorities when they are elected.